Hi, this is the Lourdes and Chris show. This breath of amazing brilliance right here is my wife, Lourdes. I'm telling you, one of the smartest gals I've ever met. She's amazing. She is spectacular. She takes my breath away literally every time I see her. She is my favorite person. Legitimately, my favorite person. I absolutely adore her. And I'm more excited than a wild stallion on an open plain.
And this is my husband, who I love so much because he's not just loving and supportive, but he always cracks me up. And this is every day. Like, I'm always laughing because he does things, even if it's something that he did like unintentional, like, tripping and stuff like that, because it's the way he trips.
I'm trying to say I'm not graceful, but we all know deep down inside I'm quite graceful. Like a gazelle, I am.
But yes, we are really excited because this is our part 2 of Dr. Nuzum, who is just an extraordinary human being, who's loving, who's probably one of the best doctors I've ever met, who just does everything in a way to really make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, I tell you, he's truly is what should be the definition of healthcare, because that's what he's about, getting you to health and not keeping you sick so that he can keep collecting the check from you. That's not his mantra at all. No. So we do appreciate his partnership. As you know, he's a friend of the show. He's our in-house doctor of health, and that's why he's such, because we trust everything he has to say, because he says it in such a way where you can't help but trust him.
Yeah, and if you remember, and not just that, it's like he explains it so you understand, because some doctors are when you go to the typical Western medicine doctors, you go there, they don't really explain things. They just say, you have this, you take this, and then they shoo you away. He more goes into what's going on. Let's find out what's happening. He gets into the root cause, and then he starts working towards getting rid of that and working with you. He actually guides you into a better health so that you're not on prescription drugs. So, and you thrive, like you literally look and feel great. And that's his whole mantra. I mean, that's his life.
It's just like we were saying this, like last week. I'm sure after last week's episode was done, you were chomping at the bit to see him again this week. We were chomping at the bit for you to see him again this week. I'm telling you, he's just extraordinary. He's one of our favorite people. And if you go to drnuzum.com, you can subscribe to his email list, so you can check out all of his products. And the good doc has set up a promo code for us, so 15% off your order if you use Lourdes and Chris at Lourdes and Chris. I don't know why I put an H in there. Lourdes and Chris.
No, just Lourdes and Chris, which you'll see in the link, and it'll also be in the description. So when you go to drnuzum.com and you order one of his products, you can actually just put in Lourdes and Chris as your promo code, and you will get 15% off.
Yeah, and that's just amazing. So thank you so much to Doc Nuzum and team for giving us that promo code, so it can help people change their conversation around their health.
Yes.
And we also want to thank all of you donators that have been helping us keep the show going and helping us help others. Thank you so much. We see you. We know who you are. We love you. If you wanted to donate, you can go to lourdesandchrisshow.com, the lourdesandchrisshow.com.
Yes.
And there's 2 ways to donate there.
So when you see those 2 sections, because each one has 2 different ways of donating. So it covers anyone who says, well, I'd rather pay with this one, or I'd rather pay with that one. So just click on the one that's best suits you, and you can donate there.
And you can see all of our former shows or episodes gone past. It's all right there on the big old list. We have a page with all the products that we use and we love, so you can check that out as well. But I don't know, I just feel like we're wasting our time because Dr. Nuzum is right there. So ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Nuzum. Now, I'm not mistaken when I say this. There is definitely an overweight to inflammation connection.
Oh, goodness. Yes. Yeah. Well, visceral fat, which is what we have around our middles, okay, that fat triggers an inflammatory response in our body.
Wow.
It becomes it. Okay. So one of the things, a non-alcoholic fatty liver, which is real common. Matter of fact, it's so common that it's considered a normal clinical finding after the age of 40.
Whoa.
Wow. So they made it normal.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's not a normal thing.
It's not normal at all, but it's so common. It's such a common finding that it's weird for them to not find it in anyone 40 years old or over.
Wow.
That's so interesting that you said that, because many people go, oh, I went to the doctor and got checked and everything looked normal. I said, yeah, but that's and I've said it so many times. And here you are saying exactly what. Wow. I've said that. I said, but isn't that just mean that they have so many people that have that same situation that they just consider it normal. Not that it's a normal thing to have.
Not that it is normal, but it, yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Not that it's not contributing to more disease, but that is common, and there's a difference between common and normal.
Right.
Exactly. And they're making
very big difference.
Language is important. We just got to telling our daughter language is important.
Everything. Wow, that is so powerful right there, because
that's what I tell my children. It doesn't, there's all kinds of behaviors that are common, but they're not normal.
Right.
Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean you should.
Especially in this day and age.
Yeah, especially.
Right.
Exactly, right? What happens is in those fatty livers, this also happens in your kidneys, your adrenal glands, your thyroid, your pancreas, okay? Where fat infiltrates the organs and takes up space, the organ, it actually, the organ tissue gets smaller and smaller, and fat infiltrates those organs. Okay. That is all that entire process is an inflammatory process.
And it makes your organs work harder because of it, because it's got all this extra pressure.
Which makes sense. So somebody will end up like their heart palpitates faster, or they have high blood pressure.
And we have some family members that have enlarged hearts, and we go, well, yeah.
And I always say, well, it's got to pump harder because of all the fat around it. So it's going to enlarge that muscle.
Definitely. Exactly.
Yeah. It's like, yikes. This is so
do your weights, then your cardio.
No, that's just sound advice. I'm going to do my weights and then my cardio.
Well, yeah, we got to do the weights, but we need to start.
Fair enough. We'll do weights first, and then we'll do cardio. But I guess the biggest secret is to actually do it.
Yeah,
that's the biggest part.
That's the big secret no one talks about.
Yeah, the one they're like, well, you have to do this, and then we don't do nothing. We're like, the only way we're going to get to where we want to be is if we just start doing it.
Right, exactly right. And then you were talking about the benefits of CBD for inflammatory responses.
Yes. So, oh my goodness.
Well, let's just start by saying all CBD isn't created equally.
That's right.
No, it's very, very different. Let's talk about what CBD does. We go back to, one of my areas of interest has been indigenous medicine, tribal medicine. I've studied tons of stuff like that. I got a PhD in it. Okay, I went that far.
That's how much studying it did. Yeah, right.
Yes, I love that.
It's amazing to go back. Cannabis has always been in indigenous medicine. It's always been used by tribal people everywhere on every part. The Eskimos up north, the Aborigines in Australia, the Africans, the Americans, Indians, and all these folks have Europeans even always used cannabis. No one smoked it.
Huh.
Right.
Almost that was considered a waste of medicine.
Interesting. And that makes sense.
But that does make sense, because it's like if you actually use it for medicinal instead of like, I just want to get high. It's like, okay.
Right?
Yeah, right.
So traditionally it was used to make a tea, to make a tincture, to make an oil, or it was juiced, or it was actually just eaten. Just straight, they'd eat the leaves, eat the flower, those types of things. It was literally considered a waste of medicine to smoke it.
Wow.
We're like, no, that's the
why are you burning it?
Yeah, right.
Which is so funny, because I've always said it doesn't matter what kind of smoke, you're still putting smoke in your lungs, and your lungs have no business having smoke in them.
No, we knew of somebody who wound up with lung cancer, and his family said, but he never smokes. And we're like, doesn't he though?
Right. It was about 150 to 180 years ago, people started smoking it. Okay, there's that recent actually. Okay. And it wasn't, prior to that, it wasn't used like that. When we go back to its original use, how did they originally use it? Well, they use it in tinctures, they use it in tea and oils, and they eat the leaves, they eat the flowers. That's how it was originally used. And so if we go back to that, there's all kinds of wisdom there. CBD, another thing in the CBD industry is most people are they're using isolated compounds, CBD A, B, C, D, FYG. There's 120 of them about. Okay.
Oh, okay.
There's a bunch, right?
Wow.
Outside of that, you have terpenes, which are God's antibiotics. It's what keeps bugs from eating the plants.
Oh,
Wow.
Okay. And now I'll come back to that. You have a thing called flavonoids. Flavonoids, scientists aren't always real creative on what they call things. Flavonoids give flavor. Okay. They're flavonoids, flavonoids, right? Okay. So flavonoids are all anti-inflammatory. Okay. So you everything curcumin is a flavonoid.
Okay.
Wow. There's chemicals like that. Okay. Those are something else that occurs. You have terpenes, you get flavonoids, then you have things called polyphenols. Polyphenols, it's like cinnamon. And a lot of your essential oils have phenols in them. And that's what.
Yes. Okay. I've heard that before.
Which makes sense if it has flavor, right? Yeah.
Right. And so when they would consume the entire plant, they got not only those 120 different cannabinoids, they also got all these other things.
Super Earth Energy.
Super Earth Energy.
For nearly 2 decades, Dr. Nuzum was developing this formula.
This one.
2 decades of his life. Nearly 2 decades.
I mean, that's really dedication to giving you the best quality of a supplement that's going to give you not only energy, I mean, it improves adrenal and,
Well, so it improves your adrenal and muscle fatigue. Yep. It actually helps with chronic fatigue syndrome, a compromised immune system, sleep deficit, brain fog.
Which many are experiencing, low sexual desire. I mean, this 2 decades, there's a reason. He put a great formula together. He formulated, and it's just amazing. Like, we love it.
Yeah. So here's the thing. It's like we were just telling our daughter the other day. It's not like it gives you like a caffeine jittery feeling. It's more like you're just awake.
Yeah, like when you were a kid and you
right.
you didn't feel. Kids they seem to not get tired. So it's kind of that. You don't go, oh, I feel like all this caffeine. It's none of that, because I personally can't do caffeine. It causes me nausea, migraines. I just can't do caffeine. But I take this and I just don't feel tired. I can spend a whole day really getting a lot of things done and not feel exhausted, or I have to take a nap, or I still do my meditation stuff, but oh my gosh, amazing.
It's because it's giving you energy at a cellular level. Now, all you have to do to get this product is go to www.drnuzum.com and look for Super Earth Energy. We've got it ourselves, but we should do a little, still show them what that bottle looks like. And there it is, Super Earth Energy. That's right. Go to drnuzum.com.
Yes. drnuzum.com. In fact, right here, we see the link.
Oh, see, now I got to put it there. I was going to put it there now, but now it's got to be there.
Or he can still put it here, but definitely here.
It's going to be 2 places now.
Super Earth Energy.
What's interesting is those polyphenols work in conjunction with THC to kill cancer cells.
Wow.
If you have both of those together at the same time, they work a whole lot better than they do apart.
Right.
It's so funny because we just did an episode recently where the whole business model of the FDA
is to separate.
And
then to synthesize it.
What they did early on was they said, hey, we know that this plant does this amazing thing, and they go, all right, team of crack scientists, find out what that one compound in there that did that, and then we'll synthesize it, and then we'll patent it and sell it for millions. But to your point,
which then gives you all these side effects because it's not natural.
Well, just like so when you have those polyphenols in with the THC, you don't get as high.
Right.
Okay, so there's some curbing effects, right? Now you got your other cannabinoids that all, and I will talk about the endocannabinoid system in just a minute here. It makes a whole lot of sense. Just 1 minute, we'll get back to that. You got these other cannabinoids. Some of them are good. Some of them are great for parasites and viruses and all those different types of things, but they work better if you have the terpene component in it.
Sure.
Right?
Got it, yeah.
Then you have all the different cannabinoids that are great for shutting off the inflammatory process. And if they have those flavonoids, they work really, really well. So they work well, but they work really, really well when they have all of it.
Of course.
So it's a whole food. It's a whole food. And
wow.
So back in 1990, they've been doing research trying to figure out what is it that cannabis does. Why is it so effective on so many different things? And they were trying to figure out why our cannabinoids, they work kind of like a medicine, but not. They work kind of like a nutrient, but not. They work kind of like a hormone, but not. Okay, so it is, but isn't on all three of those levels. Okay, it's really interesting. Lo and behold, they find every cell in the body has places for cannabinoids to plug into. They're called receptor sites.
Okay.
Wow.
And there's CB1 and CB2 receptor sites. And we have about 30 CB2 receptor sites per CB1 receptor sites. Here's what's real interesting. CB1 receptor sites are they have the highest affinity to THC. And it can make you high. It can eliminate pain.
Mm-hmm.
It can also kill cancer cells.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. That CB1 receptor, if it's activated, it can do all those things. It can also trigger new growth or regrowth of injured nerve cells.
Wow.
I mean, it's amazing what this one, and it's every cell in the body has hundreds of these receptor sites. Okay? But it has 30 times those CB2 receptor sites. And those CB2, all those other cannabinoids, not THC, but all those other 119 of them, right? They all work in that CB2 receptor site. And what CB2 does is it turns down the thermostat of that inflammatory process we've been talking about.
Wow. I mean, that makes sense because people that are like, if they're fighting cancer or something and they have pain, CBD seems to help them so much. Mm-hmm. But it's so interesting how amazing God is. That
it's so incredible.
Am I right? You got CB1 and CB2 in your system.
Right.
And then he's got a plant that has CBD that works with
all of the things to plug into those. Right.
Like
I am a creationist. Okay, so I'm a creationist. I'm Christian and I'm a creationist. So I do believe in a creative process. I believe in Almighty God making all of creation. I got called on it the other day in an interview. The guy was staunch evolutionist. And I try not to be confrontational. And so I said, do you live in a house? I said, yes. I said, well, is it a nice house? He starts describing his house. I said, well, do you think your house could have started out as a pile of dirt and somebody just somehow it all fell together? I said, your body is millions of times more complex than a house.
Yes. Yes.
So I love that.
There's no possible way that this wasn't specifically and perfectly designed.
Right.
Somebody had to put this together. If you can't see that, you gotta be blind.
I love that's such a perfect analogy, though. It's like,
I'm gonna.
And you describe all that, and then did all those things. Our body's way more complex than that.
Way more complex than that. I mean, one cell is way more complex than a house.
Yes.
It's like the whole city,
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, just down to one cell has so much all these things that go along, let alone.
Yeah, forget about it.
I mean, looking at a cell is like looking at a big city. When you actually get an electron microscope and you look inside the cell, there's so much activity. It's as if you're looking into a big metropolitan area. It's massive. There's massive activity going on in one cell.
And it's busy.
It's busy.
And it's got all its own things to do.
It's rush hour at all times.
All day long. Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So interesting. That's so. Next time someone says, I'm so going to use that because it's so true. It's like, so we had someone who built this, and you look at all the stuff they had to put together. We're way more complicated than that.
Right.
Way more.
Yeah. I mean, even when you look at nature and how it works with us and just everything.
And it's symbiotic. It was designed for us.
No accident there.
No accident
there. No accident. Couldn't possibly be. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I love that.
So with this, those CB1, CB2 receptor sites, they called that the endocannabinoid system. Okay, so what they found is the reason CBD or cannabinoids, they're kind of like a nutrient, but they're not. They're kind of like a hormone, but they're not. They're also kind of like a neurotransmitter, but they're not. What they found is that our immune cells are highly responsive to CBD, to cannabinoids in general. Our nervous system is also extremely responsive to cannabinoids, and so is our endocrine system, our hormonal system. What they found is that this endocannabinoid system that works in every cell in our body integrates our immune system, our hormonal system, and our nervous system. So they're all working in sync. Okay, there was a synchronicity of function when the endocannabinoid system is working properly, and it can't work properly without cannabinoids. Now our body produces cannabinoids, but if you've been sick, sick for a long time,
many have
through that account has been way overdrawn for a way long time.
Of course.
Then the endocannabinoid system doesn't operate, and your immune system goes off having inflammatory responses. Your nervous system goes off having depression and anxiety. Your endocrine system goes,
That's a technical way of saying that. That's a scientific way of saying that.
But you know what's so cool about it is then you think about why that plant was there in the first place and why for so long they kept it as an illegal drug, because how else can you keep? I'm just going to say it like it is.
Don't show Lourdes a rabbit hole,
because I'll dive right into it. But I'm just saying, just in general, like I think about when I was fighting cancer and I was searching for it because I understood that this was going to help me, because it was one of those things where we had the CBD, CB1 and CB2, and it needed CBD, but you weren't allowed to have it. And you go, wow, as long as you make it illegal.
How many people have passed away because of inflammatory neurologic diseases? Inflammatory cancer diseases, inflammatory gut diseses, needlessly.
No, that's profound.
And it's so true.
It's the
unnecessary death
gotta be there. It's astronomical at this point.
Super Digest.
Super Digest, one of the strongest digestive formulas on the market.
And again, this makes sense, right? Dr. Nuzum, but now you guys are seeing a theme, right? Dr. Nuzum just does the best because that's what he does.
And when it comes to your digestive system, because that's where you get the most of, nutrition, you definitely want it to be amazing.
The top notch.
Yep. And this is like 10 types of active digestive enzymes to enhance your digestion of proteins,
fats, and carbs, as well as pineapple proteolytic enzyme and papaya proteolytic enzyme.
Proteolytic.
It sounds like an era of dinosaurs, doesn't it?
Yeah, proteolytic.
This dinosaur was found in the Proteolytic era.
I just like saying proteolytic.
Yeah, that's actually our new word now. We're just going around saying Proteolytic.
Hey, it's got pineapple proteolytic.
We never had to learn Proteolytic until we met Dr. Nuzum, and now we understand what Proteolytic is. It's an enzyme that actually helps you break down protein.
And by the way, and carbs, and you need the enzymes to break down the proteins and carbs and the stuff that you need, because that's how you get your nutrition.
Right, and
So
this one has like 10, right?
Yes.
10 of types of active digestive enzymes.
Active. There's a key.
Yeah, they're not
Active
sleepy. They're not sleepy enzymes.
No.
They're not just like, well, okay. No, they're active. They're running around.
Active. 10 types of active digestive enzymes.
So you want to go to www.drnuzum.com, look for Super Digest that my lovely model wife assistant is holding.
And by the way, the products we share, it's because we take them.
We're using them.
Because we love what it does for our bodies. It's really good. So you guys definitely, oh my gosh,
digestion is crucial to your health, and that's why Dr. Nuzum has created this Super Digest.
If you have issues with your digestive system, you're going to want Super Digest.
That's right.
Yep. Super Digest.
What's interesting is the same in the United States, the same people that were telling the public that marijuana would get you high and make you some sort of crazy fiend and you'll attack people and kill them and yada yada yada, are the same people that got marijuana or cannabis outlawed in the military because it would make our soldiers too docile to fight.
Yes.
Right. Isn't that
Yes.
funny?
Yes.
Like, it's completely contradiction, right?
Whoa, total different, completely contradictory stories there. And
funny. It's
gosh.
going to mellow you out. Wait, but make you violent. So wait, is it
Right.
gonna mellow me out or am I going to be violent?
Which way are we going with this here?
Where are we going with this? Right. And somehow they sold those two storylines at the same time. I don't know how they did
Got
it.
away with it.
And
Well,
people believed it.
I mean,
Right.
even today in today's environment, they're still selling 3 or 4 different stories at the same time, and people are still buying into it.
Right.
Yeah.
True. They haven't quit. The same story, same tricks, different time. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Now, so Doc Nuzum has you have a line of CBD, yeah?
Yes.
I do at our website, nuzumsnaturals.com.
Okay, so that's nuzumsnaturals.com. We'll put it up on the screen, and we're going to go check that out ourselves too, because
Absolutely.
What I did is I didn't do an oil extract. Okay, there's a reason why. If I was to give you 16 ounces of olive oil, as healthy as olive oil is, and you drank that, it would make you sick. There's no way your body could possibly absorb 16 ounces of olive oil.
Yes, okay.
That'd be hard, yeah.
I mean, you're going to be going to the bathroom and lubricate everything.
You're in for a rough time. Right.
Whoa, you might be able to absorb about half an ounce of that at best, right? So the other 15 and a half ounces are wasted.
Well, that's a really good way of looking at that, right? For sure.
That's true.
If I give you 16 ounces of water, you're going to absorb almost all of it.
Truth.
Right?
Yep.
So what I did is I went back to the traditional way of making cannabis tea concentrates.
Oh, I love that because,
wow.
and as you said, you've got the your
all of it. It's the
yeah.
whole
So you
plant.
understood. Yeah, you understood
Wow.
from your studies that the way to do this was the tea.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
And so what's interesting is our liquid extract is typically, I mean, if you apples to apples, if you try to compare it with other cannabis extracts out there, you've got but usually about 2 drops of ours or 1 drop is worth about 10 of the oil extract.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. That's amazing.
And
you use less.
Yes.
And you use less. And here's what's really interesting, because it's a whole flower extract. We're using the whole plant, right? About 4 years ago, I got a contract with I'm going to date myself here a little bit, but remember back in the 90s, the Bianca breath spray,
Yes, the
day. Remember that?
I had the Roxbury.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So the company that has that sprayer technology, I got a contract with them to put our CBD fluid in there.
Oh
Oh, wow.
wow,
Okay.
nice.
And it was about 4 years ago we worked that out. And my little redhead Anna, my youngest daughter, she's 8 years old now, but 4 years ago she was 4 years old. And I had gone to the lab. We made up some of these. I brought a bunch of them home. I had some I was going to give to patients. I had a couple. Both my little girl Anna, our son Samuel, my 5-year-old, now 5-year-old, and then my wife were all having a heck of a time sleeping. Gina she wasn't sleeping well. The kids weren't sleeping well, which made her not sleep well.
I was going to say there's a cause and effect there.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I brought some home, and it was flavored, had a cinnamon peppermint mix flavor to it. In Anna asked to try it, and I figured, well, yeah, it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll give her a couple sprays, and she's like, "Ooh, that's good." And we go after dinner, get everybody cleaned up. They're getting ready for bed, and I'm about to tuck the little girls in. We say our prayers, sing our songs, and I get her up in her bed, and her blanket's like half on the floor, and I pick it up. And there's 2 of those sprayer bottles on the floor. Now this is 2 months supply of our CBD liquid, right? They're on the floor. I pick them up and they're empty.
Whoa.
I went, oh no. And I said, Anna, did you get these? She's like, yeah, those are really good. And she wasn't goofy though. She was really calm, and she was a typical 4-year-old, and really calm, ready to go to bed. And I'm about panicking. I'm thinking she's gonna hallucinate. She's gonna have this. She's gonna go. My brain just went. And so I picked her up. I said, "Well, you're gonna come stay with Papa tonight." I stayed up all night.
Yeah, I imagine.
She slept like a rock. She was out, slept really sound. Got up the next day, totally fine. No problems, no hangover, no nothing.
Wow.
Nothing.
Wow.
I could not believe it. This is a 4-year-old little girl took a 2-month supply in a matter of 3 hours. I was like,
talk about the bodies being built perfectly though, right?
And that's my point. These aren't isolates. Okay, so she didn't get a big dose of any one chemical. She got all of them in concert.
Right.
And that harmony set well with her system. It didn't hurt her.
Yep.
Well,
again, it also shows people that you can overdose and die in this. Please, for the love of Pete. When they come up with it, I'm like, really? Okay. But you can't overdose on the stuff that they prescribe you at the.
Right. And even
how amazing.
If you're taking a bunch of THC, that's one chemical out of that 120, not to mention all those other, the flavonoids, the phenols, all those other terpenes, all those other things that are supposed to be in there as one isolated chemical. And when you take that without those other things, you can't help but have side effects.
Right. Well, because everything was meant to be together, and we all, they always want to just strip the one thing out. It's like, no, they work in unison. They have to be together.
They have to be. And yes, so I got things like curcumin. Okay, so my curcumin, like in Flamagon, okay, it's 95% curcumin. The other 5% is the rest of the rest of the root. It's the rest of the stuff. Because we need a little bit of that in there to help utilize that primary compound.
That makes sense.
So even in all of it, so the boswellia in boswellic acid content in the extract that we use for Inflamagon is 65%. The other 35% is all the other stuff that you'd find in frankincense.
Which makes sense. It's you're keeping everything together that works in harmony. And I think that's why they work so well.
Well, but but again, I hate to keep banging this drum, but that's the difference between somebody like Doc Nuzum, who is consciously saying this has to be in a whole form versus what you're going to get from a lot of other companies,
or they just strip it all out,
including big pharma, where it's let's isolate that one thing we believe is going to do it, and then lo and behold, your body has these side effects and
or never mind, it's synthetic.
And
so on top of
it's made from oil. It's
Sure.
Right.
There is a huge difference in that.
That's the story of our CBD extract that we have.
I love that.
Again, when it comes to inflammation, gosh, if I was to put out a protocol for inflammation, I would use our Inflammagon,
yes,
digestive enzymes, and the CBD. That mix, I use that clinically all the time. It is phenomenal.
Sure. And
that's great to know.
We're talking people who have arthritis, which is an inflammatory response.
Right.
Those three things, the boom, boom, boom.
Or even with the autoimmune disorder.
Right. Exactly. Especially for sure. That's another thing, that those CB2 receptor sites in the endocannabinoid system, they help to modulate the immune system. So a autoimmune response is an inflammatory response against the self, right?
Right.
There's has to be, they haven't confirmed this, but there has to be a reason why the body would go after itself in a specific area or after a specific type of tissue. There has to be something in the tissue that it's trying to get at, whether that's a virus or a toxin or something like that. But the body's not stupid.
Right. There's a reason why it's doing it.
There's a reason why. And so there's getting that it's like putting blinders on the bulldog.
Right.
He's just going after, he knows he's supposed to go after something, but doesn't know exactly who. So he's going after something, and he's, knocking the kids over in the process.
What's so amazing about this, Doc, is that so many people with autoimmune issues, they've resigned to it.
Like, that's just how,
this is my life now.
This is my disease.
It runs in my family.
Sure.
This it goes on, and this is profound, because you're saying that it doesn't have to be that way.
Right. And there was something that caused it.
You know what I found that runs in families?
Ignorance.
Recipes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, 100%.
Yes. It's like, and I said, it's in our family. I said, but didn't you guys eat the same way?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we've addressed that a few times with people when they were saying, well, this disease specifically runs in my family. And we're like, well, if it runs in your family, then ideally you guys were all eating the same meals.
You're like, but I eat different. You were a kid, you grew up eating whatever was on that plate.
Thing.
Right.
It did. Your parent didn't make one meal for you, a different one for the other. It was all.
Right. Yep. All grew up in the same house, in the same environment, same.
Right. And you were telling a story about your dad, about how he'd actually go out and address the basement for some people because of the same environment. So to your point, it all matters.
It does matter. I love that. See, that's what I mean. It's now everyone can see why we love Dr. Nuzum so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's every time we have a conversation, we feel smarter. I know that's true.
Yes.
Now that we know proteolytic is the correct
proteolytic, even though
proteolytic.
I like proteolytic.
Yeah, right. Proteolytic. We understand that now. And today you taught us some new terms, breaking down the whole CBD.
Right. Right. And
the fulvic.
Those are our when it comes to those inflammatory enzymes. Okay, so medications they destroy those enzymes, whereas curcumin and ginger and boswellia and CBD, they all work to slow the flow of all the chemical processes that produce those enzymes.
Right.
Okay, so if you go up the chain in the cascade and slow things down up there, you don't have as much of that at the end.
Right.
It takes longer to get there. Okay, because it's not destroying the end product that's triggering that final response, but you're going upstream and settling it down.
Well, but to your point,
Yeah.
it takes longer to get there. Yes. But how long did it take for you to get to where you are now?
Yeah,
Right.
doing it in a way where you actually heal, then have more problems.
Well, like you said too, your patient there, he did eventually have a cup of coffee again. So it was one of those things.
Right. His ability to withstand that trigger, he rehabilitated. He got his strength back. We fixed the broken leg. He could walk again.
Dr. Nuzum's Inflamagon.
It's powerful anti-inflammatory botanical formula.
So this bad boy's got curcumin, and he gets that curcumin from organic turmeric root.
Yes, which is important. We want organic. And freeze-dried frankincense oil.
Freeze-dried frankincense oil is boswellic acid, actually. Boswellic acid.
I love these words.
I know. Our vocabulary has been so expanded since we started working with Dr. Nuzum.
Yes.
And that's boswellic acid is important because it's one of the things that help you. It actually helps with inflammation, but it also is an inhibitor for tumors.
Yeah.
So
so why not prevent or get rid of if you have one of those things or you don't know you have it yet?
Yeah, right. And why just jump ahead of it? Because this formula is bound to Dr. Nuzum's unique fulvic acid and humic acid.
Which, by the way, those two minerals that you really do need if you want to stay healthy. And it gives maximum absorption and anti-inflammatory action. You're likely dealing with inflammation. Yes, because most people don't realize that if you end up with certain pains and aches, that's inflammation. Inflammation causes aches and pains to let you know there's an issue.
And prolonged inflammation is really what causes these chronic illnesses, up to and including cancer. So
we take this as well, and it's amazing. In fact, real quick tidbit, even as a thin person, I always had this little pouch, but since I've been taking this, I'm like, I must have had inflammation because that little pouch is gone.
Goodbye pouch, no more punch. So you want to go to www.drnuzum.com, get that anti-inflammatory formula of his in Inflamagon. I love the name Inflamagon.
Like it's gone.
Inflamagon.
Inflam is gone.
We love it.
We do.
I'll let that one slide. We love it. We know that you love it too because look, inflammation is something that you really want to work out of your system right now.
Yeah, like if you want to avoid health issues, when you have too much inflammation just creates, and especially if it's consistently going on,
right.
It causes diseases, it causes illnesses. Who wants to be sick?
And you can trust Inflamagon because it comes from Dr. Nuzum, and
we trust it, and
we love it.
And we take this sucker daily.
Love it.
We like to prevent.
I mean,
now, what role does sort of like cleansing? It has to be a big proponent of because I'm just thinking about the people who are at the start of this going, man, I do have inflammation issues and I want to get started. You gave us the laundry list of what to avoid. Let's talk about what to put in instead.
What do we do? Right.
Detox, right?
There's a couple things. One is detoxing. Okay, that is where you get rid of those things that are triggering the inflammatory response. Right. One of my analogies with patients is, let's say you've got a sliver in your hand, okay, and it's deep, and if you really dig in there, it just causes more problems. So you leave it, let it work its way out, right? But it's been in there for, let's say, 2 weeks.
Okay.
Now your whole hand's swollen. You got an infection in there, right? Well, there's a process we'll have to go through to get everything to settle down. We're going to have to disinfect the area. We have to, work on that infection. We'll have to do things to, soothe the hand, get the swelling down. And we're going to have to go get that sliver.
Yeah, right. The root cause.
Until the sliver's gone, you can't get rid of everything else. It's going to keep happening.
Right.
And detox is how we get rid of the sliver.
Got it. Yeah.
That's what it's all about. It's getting the slivers out of your system.
Now, this tea that you sell on Nuzum Naturals, it has a detox component for it as well.
Of course. Yeah. It's kind of like in Inflamagon, we have the humic and fulvic acid. We have ginger.
Detox. Right, right.
Those things all help to detoxify the body. And same thing with one of the things that the CBDs, especially with the flavonoids and the terpenes, when they all work together, they help the liver and the kidneys filter better.
Right.
So there's a detox effect there.
Nice.
And so as far as diet is concerned, if I'm going to get rid of gluten, should I do like almond flour bread or just no bread at all, or what's the thought?
Okay, so if food is a big trigger, okay, the easiest diet for the gut to handle is a protein with cooked vegetable diet.
Okay.
So protein of typically you're going to animal source, or if you're going to do shakes, you can get decent, because legumes and things like that can also be irritating to the gut.
Interesting. And then obviously
it makes sense as you get gassy.
Yeah, and then kind of going back to what you said before, when you're looking at the protein, and Lourdes, you said this once when you were on another show, because the guy had said, "Well, I'm not going to give up my meat and all other stuff." So, but you said something really profound then.
Well, because even animals, I mean, how do they build their muscles when they're eating twigs and stuff? They're getting the amino acids to help build the protein, but you also can get it even in quinoa. Quinoa is actually really
sure.
But you also said that if you're gonna eat the meat, like if you're gonna eat the meat, no antibiotics, organically raised,
right?
Rule
of thumb is if you eat meat, that much meat, you need to have twice that much vegetables.
There you go.
Think of the volume. You think you're going to get hungry after that?
Yeah, you'll be nice and stuffed.
It's a fair point.
That's good to know.
Yeah, it is good to know.
If they're going to eat this much meat,
right,
and they need to
double that amount in vegetables.
Yep, you should always be having more of the vegetables.
And then, of course, people will overcook them because we used to just go nuts with butter and salt, and it was mush. It was mush. We're like, it's still broccoli. No, not anymore.
Not for
a while now.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes initially with, especially if the gut's a real mess and they're having a lot of food allergy type problems, they'll have to steam the vegetables and things to an extent to help break them down. That typically the magic number is like 90 days.
Okay.
It really is. 90 days is, if you can avoid something for 90 days, you usually can start reintroducing it a little bit after 90 days, typically.
Oh, and you know what I love about that? I love that what you just did is you gave a goal. You said you have to be within integrity for 90 days on this one point. And you didn't say never again. You didn't say a year or 5 years, because right there people will be like, I'm not going to do that. But you're saying 90 days.
90 days. You can give yourself 90 days to the right things to heal that, so that you can then get back
reintroduce to see how we are.
And then don't get crazy. It's
just like the broken leg. You don't break your leg and get up and start running.
Right.
You can't. That's okay. So if gluten is the irritant in your body, you can't keep eating it and get better. You can't. Just like you can't run on a broken leg.
Yes.
Same thing. And so you got to let the broken leg heal before you start stressing it by walking or running or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're not going to just go out of a cast and start running. You're going to walk first.
Right.
So when you reintroduce the whatever it is, okay, you introduce a little bit. Don't go hog wild on it, because that will overstress your capacity to adapt and you'll crumble. You'll have a problem.
Now the thing with your Inflamagon is when people get it, because I know right now people are going to jump on, and you get 50% off right now if
15%,
if you use the Lourdes and Chris promo code, which we'll have right here. But with the Inflamagon, you have on there 1 to it's right here. So why am I going to guess? I'm sorry, 1 to 3.
Yeah,
1 to 3. Sure.
So just someone starts with 1 and see how we react, or are you saying go for the 3?
Typically, what I have people do is if they're is just a clinical setting. Okay, if their inflammation is kind of on the mid-range, they have inflammatory processes going on. I will, like I said, I'll use the CBD and the enzymes and this together, I'll have them take one, but they'll take it 3 times a day.
Got it.
Every time they eat.
Oh, I like that because you're keeping a steady Eddie level of it. I got you.
Right.
Now, in some cases, like for colds and flu, I'll have people take 3 or 4 capsules 3 times a day for 3 or 4 days.
Oh, sure. Acute versus chronic. I got you.
Right. And
that would also be with the combination of the CBD.
Right. Should just take a higher dose for a shorter period of time, because colds and flus are an inflammatory response to a virus.
Yes.
What the symptoms, all 98% of all the symptoms you have when you have the cold or a flu or whatever, are your body's inflammatory response to that virus.
Of course.
Which many should be taking even for preventative. Wouldn't you say, like, even preventative, even if they did?
Well, that's what we're doing.
Right. Well, the thing is, the less amount of inflammation that you're carrying, the greater your capacity to withstand something.
Sure.
Okay, so the more inflammation you have, the less inflammation you can handle. Less, the less inflammatory things you can handle, because you're already full. You got too much inflammation.
Yeah, like you said, that dam is already there and it's starting to come over the top already.
All right, coming over the top. Right. So you're at your threshold already. So if you can reduce that threshold and get it down, that increases your capacity to be able to deal with other stuff.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's why we like to do it just for preventative as well.
Sure.
Why wait till you're messed up?
Our whole family takes most of our products every day.
I imagine. I imagine that's true. Because you know what it's doing for the body.
Right.
Okay, it's giving you all those nutrients and all the stuff that the body, the compounds and stuff that are in them that your body actually runs on. So
we've had other people on the show who are talking about how we live in a toxic environment and you're just not going to get away from it. Some worse than others. LA.
Well, that's true. But what we can do, we can minimize to an extent. We can minimize. Okay, there's healthy choices and there's unhealthy choices, right? So we can make more healthy choices, right? But we can also do things to reduce our inflammation that we are carrying in our bodies and increase our resistance. So when you do that, when you reduce the inflammation, but you increase your resistance, you just increased your ability to deal with this toxic environment.
Right.
Yes.
That's so perfectly 100%,
said. Yeah.
Yes. I love that because of the situation that we can't undo the chemtrails or the sprays they put on all these crops that you drive by or that you.
No, even organic food. I mean,
Yeah, because you take organic food, they'll spray it just to transfer it.
That's right.
So one thing about organic is water always finds its table.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, you're right.
So even if you got an organic farm sitting here, but everything around it, some of that's going to leak in. You can't avoid it. It's just how it is, right?
Right.
So what we have to do is do things. We have to make the clean choices, make healthy choices, stay as clean as we can. Okay. One of the things there would be water filtration. The real important, right? Because water finds its table, right? So, but we make clean choices over here. So we're not, our diet, what we're eating, what we're drinking isn't massively adding to our toxic load, right? So we do that while at the same time we detox, we do things to reduce our inflammation, clean ourselves out, lose some weight. All those things reduce our level of inflammation. Well, at the same time, if we can take things that are replacing the nutrients, putting the things back in our body that our body needs, that increases our resistance.
Right.
So that's the best we can do with the environment we have. It really is.
And you know what's so amazing about you, Doc, is that you're about to break the NFL record for so you clearly know what you're saying because you're living it.
Yes, but that's so perfectly said, because if we do build back, like the resistance, and we're taking care of ourselves, our bodies don't have to suffer as much as those that do nothing.
There is, it's kind of like lifting weights. Okay, I've been lifting weights for over 40 years.
Wow.
We lived in South.
You were 2 years old when you started lifting weights? That's amazing.
We lived North Toledo, South Detroit area, right? And it was rough. And I was walking to kindergarten and I got waylaid by some older kids in concussion, the whole 9 yards. It was pretty bad. And Dad made me this little barbell with 2 5-pound plates on it and put me in Kung Fu class because he said, son, obviously you can't run fast enough. He said,
Plan B.
I've been doing it ever since, so even, I'm in my late 40s and if I don't hurt myself between here and the fall, I should break this world record,
Oh yeah.
But it's because I've been doing this for so long, my body's used to that. My capacity has grown with me. Does that make sense?
It does. No, it really does.
So I've been constantly building that strength. So now I'm at this place where I'm going to try this, and I've actually broke the record twice in training, so I know I can do it. I just got to be able to do it.
Right there, like you said, the whole mental aspect is already out of the way because it can be done because you've done it.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly. Wow, that's amazing. Brilliant. And see, that goes to show everyone watching that, when you build resistance, when you're doing the right things and putting things into the body, detox, and like the whole process, stabilizing and nourishing, your body will do exactly what it was meant to do.
That's right.
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
Yes. Whee!
Excellent.
Okay. So, Doc, before we go, is there anything else that you feel like we should?
Yeah, we want to make sure that we cover because.
Boy, I think we covered everything. That is, again, back to that, the enzymes, the CBD and inflammasome. Those are really my foundational, if you will.
Look at the CBD for sure.
You got the
foundational.
Got the enzymes.
So they should, this is something that those 3 things, it should be something they definitely should have together.
Oh my goodness. For inflammation, that is clinically, that's like my base.
I love that. That's
really is. It works.
You can go to drnuzum.com, put Lourdes and Chris for your 15% off, plus go to Dr. Nuzum Naturals. And that's where you're going to get
Naturals.
Yes, where you'll get the CBD.
Yes.
So go there as well.
Yeah, so we'll have all that information not only on the screen, but also beneath the video. So
in the description.
Video, click. And then we had a friend that was that said that she absolutely loved her session with you.
Yes.
And as I understand it, you did that remotely, so that is something that you offer.
Right.
Yes.
I do a lot. At this point, I have consultation contracts in 75 countries.
Are you guys listening? So no matter where you're at,
all over the world,
yes,
every continent, I have.
Yes,
good. I'm consulting with people. I had can't give any names, of course.
Right.
Her father was a sheik over in Saudi Arabia. She had some issues. She had never done anything in her entire life. She was 28 years old. Poor lady had never fed herself. Never had to. She had servants to do that.
Right.
Well, it caused all kinds of muscular degeneration, musculoskeletal degeneration.
Interesting, of course.
And so her father sent her on their Learjet over to see me here in Boise with her 10 bodyguards.
Wow.
Okay.
It was interesting. They'd come to our clinic, kicked everyone else out of the clinic, and they were doing their, the whole security thing the whole time they were there. She saw me for her appointment, got back on her plane, went back home.
Wow.
It was real interesting. But I've had people from all over the world, and now we're just doing it via Zoom now. It's
great. And how many? This is great though, because so many people that are in different states or countries, when they want to see you, they can now know, well,
can actually
yeah.
connect. It's
Yep,
great.
phone
No,
call
but
away.
what's the start point with that? It's just to go to drnewsome.com, I'd imagine.
Info@drnewsome.com. Send an email if you're looking for an appointment, would like to do an appointment. We can get you booked right through info@drnewsome.com.
Yeah, fantastic.
Info.drnewsome.com.
Yeah, we'll put that on there as
Yeah,
well.
so that they know where to
Now, I
go.
know you speak 2 languages fluently. It wouldn't surprise me to learn that you speak 5 languages fluently. So it's
just 2 fluently. I have studied other languages, but I'm not
shocked. I'm not shocked.
So,
Yeah.
so a lot of times I can tell what region of whatever, are they from the west side of Canada or the or the east,
Right.
or what area of South America they're from, or even in the Oriental. I grew up doing martial arts, so I know a little bit of Mandarin, a little bit of Japanese, a little bit of Korean, and
enough to be dangerous.
enough to I just need to be quiet.
Yeah, right. So, but what I'm saying is that if someone is a Spanish speaker, you speak Spanish fluently.
I do fluent.
Yes.
I do.
Good, because I have a whole
Probably about a third of my long distance consults are Hispanic folks.
That's great to know.
It is good to know.
Because I have a lot of people that speak Spanish fluently, and they speak a little English, but most of it, they're mostly Spanish.
Yeah, a lot of times they're self-conscious. Even if they have pretty decent English, they're still self-conscious about it, and I have no problem. We have no problem with puedo hablar perfectamente bien.
Sí, that's
I can just go nuts.
That's right. Yeah.
That's the difference between Dr. Nuzum and myself, by the way. Whenever I hear Spanish, I'm like, goodbye, I'm out of here. Versus Dr. Nuzum is like, I need to know this. Go on,
When me and Gina met, I spoke English, she spoke Spanish. And that we had to learn each other's language to get this thing straightened out.
Well, then you're both a couple of smarties
yeah.
because I have conversations with her. So you're both a couple of smarties. Yeah,
See,
no worries.
That goes to show the power of love.
Right.
There we go. Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
I love that. Oh, I love it. Because he's like, I don't speak the language. I don't speak your language, but we're going to make this work out.
Figure this out.
I love that. I love that. So if you haven't already joined on to drnewsome.com and you got onto his newsletter, you really need to, because he's always got something exciting on the horizon. And he has master classes on there, recipes. Oh
my gosh.
Yeah.
There was one I'm going, that looks so delicious.
Right.
And it's healthy.
Right.
Man.
Oh no, you just did one for dragon fruit, and I didn't know dragon fruit was. Anyways,
you guys you have to sign up.
But just if you go there, you learn stuff. You go, oh, I did not know that. That's amazing.
So on top of learning the stuff, it's all healthy, and it's a recipe that you can actually make at home.
You can apply. That's the thing we try to put out there. Stuff that you can just apply yourself.
Yes.
And it's not the way natural medicine is supposed to work. Is it's supposed to empower you to heal yourself. The doctor should be the guide.
Oh, I love that.
I love that.
Not the healer. The doctor is actually the one that is supposed to be guiding you. Sorry.
Okay, Gina's like it's
process. Probably. So the doctor is supposed to guide you through the healing process. That's what the doctor is supposed to do in natural medicine. Not be the one that you're dependent on. You have to,
right.
I gotta go get this treatment from this guy or I'm gonna die. That's not how.
No, that's why we're so enamored with you, because you're option C 100%.
You're literally about helping the patient understand the body, how to heal it, guide them through that other side where from sick to health. And it's not about, let's just keep you on these pills that are going to cause more side effects, that you're going to end up with more of these problems and more issues. That's a real doctor.
That's healthcare versus sick care.
Yes. Yes. Because conventional medicine is sick care. Natural medicine is health care.
That's right.
And when you're dealing with, I don't care what it is, if you're dealing with any kind of issue with your health, reach out to Dr. Nuzum. It's info at Dr. Nuzum.
Info at drnewsome.com.
Yes, go there. You can fill out a form. You can share what's going on, and he can guide you back to health. I've known many people that just love, by the way, so many people, they're like, I love him. I'm like, I told you.
Yeah.
So
what's not to love?
Yes, and this is what you want to do, because then you're really actually going to heal. You're going to actually live a life where you should be able to thrive in, instead of going, well, I do want to go on this trip. I'm just too sick, or my body aches too much, or I couldn't, fill in the blank. Yeah.
Right.
I
For
love
sure.
this.
Sure.
So, Doc, we know that you're super duper busy, and
Yeah.
so
Very
we
busy.
always love it when you're able to take some time to talk to us
Yes.
directly, because we learn so much, and I think by default, so does everybody watching this, and
Yes,
that's what
they
this
do.
is really all about. We can all live perfect and healthy lives, and thank you so much
Yes.
for your part in that.
Thank you.
You're
Yes.
so welcome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you.
we appreciate you.
appreciate you. We love you, and we can't wait to have you again, because it's like we learn so much.
How does tomorrow look for you? Tomorrow, yeah. No problem. I'm back, sure. And tell Gina we said hello. We absolutely love her as well. She's one of our favorite people.
Thank you. You guys too. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thank
you, sir.
See you. Bye-bye.
I'm telling you, you know what, poor Doc, he's such a busy guy.
He really is a busy guy.
So that when we get him, we're like, you go nowhere. You stay with us, Doc, because he's just that extraordinary. We absolutely love talking to him. He's got a way of saying things in such a way that make it so perfectly clear to us.
Yes.
And
the information. Talk about getting all this great information to stay healthy. And when you're feeling that good, and you listen to that great information, it makes you want to go share with someone else, because you know how many friends and loved ones are actually dealing with certain health issues.
Right.
And I love how you talked about even down to the exercise.
Right. Yeah. You broke down exercise, how people have been thinking about that wrong for a long time.
Yep.
And
how to see results.
And I was just going to say, he's the product of his own advice. He leads an extraordinary life because he's in shape and he's healthy, and he imparts that wisdom onto us and to everyone. Yeah.
Yes. He's an amazing
He's
guy.
a healthcare provider. Literally a health care provider.
When we say health, we think of health. You get good health. And you look at him, you're like, he represents all of that.
That's right.
Yes.
So if you go to drnuzum.com, right here.
Yep.
Subscribe to his newsletter, subscribe to his emailing list, check out his articles, look at his master classes. It's all on there.
Yep.
And if you use promo code Lourdes and Chris, you get 15% off your order. So it's almost like, he's doing this because he wants you to get healthy.
Yep.
That's
you can also go, he's also got other stuff like CBD and all that. And you can get that at drnuzumsnatural.com. And if I said it wrong, I don't think I did, but in case I did, it doesn't matter. It'll be here on the screen, and it'll also be on the description. So you can click on there, his stuff. And I like how he combined his fundamental foundation of how to get.
He said something really profound, and that he's got one of his many degrees is in Native American medicine. And okay, think about that. Before, and you saw this episode a couple weeks ago, before pharmaceutical companies came in and made it about them and about making money, it was holistic medicine, which was practiced by all the indigenous people around the world. And that's what he knows, and that's why he does what he does.
And that's why he brings the best herbs and stuff in combinations together, so they work in sync with each other. That actually help your body heal, instead of if they're working against each other. Because sometimes you get supplements that are at the stores, you don't know the quality of it, you don't even know what they've used, or if it's even genetically modified. I mean, there's so many things that you don't know, and then you wonder, well, I've been taking this and I didn't feel any difference. It might just be the product itself that you got. Right.
So the thing of it is that without Doc Nuzum's help and people like Doc Nuzum, there would be literally no real options for health out there. It'd be sick care only. So we appreciate him and everything that he does. If you wanted to follow Lourdes, and who doesn't? She's amazing. Or Chris, there's several ways that you could follow us on social media.
So you can follow us on the Instagram with Chris, Instagram with Lourdes, or hold on, or Facebook or YouTube or TikTok.
Yeah, we've got some stuff coming up. So if you were to go to the lourdesandchrisshow.com and sign up for that email list, you'd know about those things that are coming up. We've got some live events coming up in October here. We're looking forward to. Can't wait to go.
Can't wait.
Yeah, so join us there.
2 speaking events coming up, actually.
That's right.
In October.
So we want to see you there. And while you're there, poke around. Make sure you see all the other episodes that are all there for you. And we absolutely love you. Thank you for joining us every week. You are making a huge difference. And if you wanted to help us in the most simple way, you can follow, like, and share all of our videos, and follow, like, and share us, so that we can get the word out and really, really start to change this conversation surrounding health. And
actually share. I mean, share with everyone you know, because in your sharing, you may think, okay, I'll share, but not realize that you just turned someone's life around. Like you just touched them in a way that they wouldn't have known, because that was that very thing they were looking for. Because sometimes people don't want to tell you everything about what's going on in their health and in their life. So they keep it to themselves. They keep it close to to their heart, because they feel, whatever their reason is, that they don't want to bother anybody or want anyone to know. So sometimes they may be doing that one prayer of what the answer is. And because you shared that video, it happens to be talking about the very one thing that they were looking for, that answer to.
Yeah, we always like to say that you don't know who needs to know that thing that you know, and that's through the sharing, and that's how Lourdes got to her optimal health. So thank you again. We look forward to seeing you in about a week. We love you. Have a good day.
Bye.